So we just watched the what would happen if the corpus callosum was cut, and then as you saw, the man who had his corpus callosum cut, basically he had gone back to a pretty normal life. But in the beginning, there's a lot of problems with the differences between the hands. Like one story is that a woman would reach into the closet with her right hand and get out a piece of clothing, and then with her left hand, when she would pull it out, it would be something that completely didn't match. I can't remember if it's in this textbook version or if it was in a version in the past, but I remember there was a story in one of the editions of this textbook where a man was in a fight with his wife, and he was choking her with one hand and trying to save her with the other. So I'm going to let you think about that for a minute, but let's do an easier one before we do that one. So another story about a person who had their corpus callosum cut was one hand would pick up the book and want to read, and then the other hand wouldn't want to read, and it would throw the book on the floor. So let's try that one first. Which hand do you think could read? Can you think? Okay, so we know that the left hemisphere can read, but the left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. So it would be the right hand that wants to read, and it would be the left hand that would throw the book on the floor. So now let's try. Now you can see where I was going with it. Let's try it. When the man was in a fight with his wife, one hand wanted to choke her and the other hand wanted to save her. So which hand did what? Okay, did I give you a chance to think about it? So if you remember, the right hemisphere is actually for stronger negative emotions. So the right hemisphere is connected to the left hand. So I would guess that the left hand was choking her, and then the right hand, which is connected to the right hand, which was connected to the left hemisphere, which is more logical, it's more for positive emotions, was probably trying to save her. So anyway, though, as you saw, the guy says, well, I just feel like I have a backup brain. But let's see why that might change. As you can see in this picture here, what we have is the corpus callosum, and that's cut right here. But there's also this place here where nerve fibers can cross, the anterior commissure, and also the hippocampal commissure. See this kind of green area right here? Here's the anterior commissure. See how it can go back and forth? And you see how the hippocampal commissure can go back and forth. So what they think, one of the reasons why after about 3 months or so the incompatibility between the two hands stops is because of that they think that maybe more dendritic pathways are going to grow across these two commissures. Another explanation that they tend to give in the textbook, the brain seems to pick up cues from one side of the body to learn how to react with it. So it picks up subtle cues that one side of the brain gives to the face, and it feels that, and then the other side will pick that up. So basically what they think is the reason why in the beginning, right after a split brain surgery, that there's a lot of inconsistencies between the two hands and it's hard to adapt, is because the brain hasn't changed and learned as a result of the surgery yet. But then after a few months, the brain learns ways to deal with the cut corpus callosum, either by growing pathways across the two commissures, or picking up subtle differences from one side to the other, slowing things down a bit so that it can read that.